This is New Eden FM, presented by the Data Break Network. This is New Eden.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to New Eden FM. We have the music and news to enhance your Sunday. I am Alondria of the Galaxy, here with you in the studio and likely listening with you in your Alliance comms. Here in the studio with me is our producer, Maestra Mackenzie. How are you doing this morning?
Good. I actually feel like like those people that just like sit all the way in the back while the actual news anchors are doing the work and stuff, and they've got like this mountain of equipment around them, and but their job is just to make everyone else sound good. Well, you know what? It's actually a better feeling than I thought it would be. I'm just saying.
Well,
Yeah. Congratulations on your
well
promotion, by the
that's
way.
good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, thank you. I have to say, the amount of butterflies in my economic is like a swarm of interceptors. You know, it's like all on me, but that's all right. We're doing all right.
Master Yoda
So
style
we got a
interceptors.
wonderful show. Oh my gosh, I think he's heading that butterfly fleet. All right, but we do have a good show today. We've got the major patch to cover and everything like that. We've got some war news to cover and player movement where they're actually trying to form their own CSM council. So lots and lots to cover today.
Wow. CSM console. You know what?
Indeed, EO style.
Good luck on that one. Okay.
I know, right? But we're going to cover that. We're going to talk about it. We'll even hook you up with the link coming up. So we'll talk
This
about
is
it.
your weekly update on all things Eve Echoes and Eve Online. New Eden News.
All right, welcome back. All right, we have a lot going on in the game this week. We have this major patch. I don't know if you heard about it since you're not playing anymore, but they added a ton of stuff.
All right, hit me to see if it surprises me.
All right. Well, first thing they added was a bunch of new skills. They added a new specific skills in response to the threat of the unknown faction. They approved new special skills.
Oh, wow.
They're basically skills that enhance things that already exist. Makes your weapons hotter. Gives missiles better focus on
Wait, did
targets
they
and
put
extends
thermodynamics
the
in the
range.
game? Like, did they put that skill in the game that allows you to overheat your modules, like in Eve Online?
Well, no, because there's no overheating. It just adds straight up stat bonuses. It's
Oh
just a
my
little extra
goodness.
bonuses to things. Uh, they added target navigation prediction, which is focusing on fast targets, makes all missiles less prone to damage reduction when doing so. They added precision guidance theory, increasing the damage of all missiles against small targets, making them less vulnerable to damage reduction. They put in control bursts theory, reducing capacitor need of all turrets. Put drone interfacing theory, increasing the drone control range.
Hmm.
They put fighter fighting theory, which increases the explosion velocity of all fighter rockets. And they put lightweight ship navigation theory, increasing the flight velocity of all lightweight ships. They put shield and armor hardening array theory, increasing the base battle use of shield and armor for all capital ships. They put in damage transfer theory, increasing the damage transfer ratio of mothership defense modules. And then they put in mothership defense coordination theory, reducing the restart time of mothership modules and improving durability. Now, I don't know if it's just kind of a sign of the way NetEase looks at industry, but they actually added in specific skills for industry, but they didn't bother to put them into the actual patch notes. So, I do have, I know, color me surprised too, right? Color me surprised. But they added in a mining drone structure. They added it in exhumer drone structure. Added in strip miner structure, and they added in mining laser structure. This is for all you miners out there who you want to enhance your mining lasers or your strip miners or your mining drones. Go look in the skills. There's actually something there for you, even though NetEase didn't bother to tell you because they really care about you. So there's something there, though. I mean, it blew my mind whenever I saw that there was stuff there, and I'm like, this wasn't in the patch notes. So I haven't had time to go through and see if I could find anything else in there that might be hiding. But so if you found something that's not in the patch notes, give a shout out in the Sound of Us, and we want to hear about it. Okay?
Yeah, I'm actually reading The Sound of Us, and Junipera just made the statement that the new skills are mostly a 15% more damage at 555 range fall off for gunnery missiles, drones, fighters, etc. There's plus shield, armor, HP stuff as well. And the thing is, it's only available at Tech 10, so it's basically just a way for you to kind of meta yourself, from what I can tell. And plus, those how much are those skills running for? Because she's saying they're likely to be very expensive. Obviously, I don't know, but how much are these skills?
Oh yeah,
for?
they're over 100 million each. So I've seen some
God
up to
damn.
200 million. So yeah, it's like unlocking capital skills. It's that
Man,
level of price.
like I
So
swear they just come up with new ways. Like every
now,
time
now
they will come up with new
that's
ways to find people to make people grind or swipe their credit cards. But please move
now
on.
here's the kicker on it though. Only that first level, the basic level, can you unlock with ISK. Now the second one, the advanced one, it has to be unlocked with its skill chip. So does the third one.
And
Now,
where's the skill chip?
Now, the advanced you're going to find in the Concord Pass store. Okay, that's going to you can get them in these little boxes that contain different types of skills. You've got your defense, and industrial, and weapon, and basically they're 36,000 Concord points each, and it's random. You don't know what you're going to get. Now, if you're really, really lucky, though, you're going to get an opt box. Okay, get an opt box, then you get to choose what you want from the list. Otherwise, it is completely random. So, hope that if you don't get what you get, it's valuable enough for you to sell it and buy the one that you were wanting. Okay, that's about all you got to do on that.
According to what Damon Zhao just said, is you can buy two for 1 billion each. And Junie said that you can only buy 2 out boxes for the 1 billion.
Yes.
And they're clone bound.
Yes, you can do that. Those are clone bound,
Okay.
but you do get to select 2 skills of the advanced that you do want. So you can buy those op boxes there for the advanced skill, but it's going to cost you 1 billion ISK for it. Okay.
I mean,
And you only do it twice. That's your limit. Apparently I don't know if that store is ever going to renew or if that's your forever ever limit. So,
like, I kind of get the
but yeah,
concept of
that
skills.
is very true.
I get the concept of skills that make things, perform a lot better, right? In EO, we have skills that, for example, you don't necessarily need, like, say, for example, thermal compensation and EM compensation and stuff. They literally just make your modules more resistant, or those specific modules more resistant to damage from those set sources. So I get why you would put skills, or why they would include skills that are, that are there just to give you a marginal benefit. Because, I mean, even it's a spreadsheet game, right? No one that is listening
Yeah,
to this is going to suggest otherwise. It is a spreadsheet game,
yeah,
and it is going to be, the 1% is eventually, it's gonna matter at some point. You are going to
yeah.
feel that 1%, whether it is you want to fight and you want it by like you warped away in like 5% health, then you realize that if I hadn't had that 1%, I'd probably be dead right now. or or you're gonna lose a
Exactly.
fight and you're gonna realize that if I had
Uh-huh.
that 1%, I probably would have killed that guy. You know?
Yeah, because I still would have had that slither of health. You know that slither of health. Every PvPer has had that fight where it's just that tough fight. I mean, you're very evenly matched, but you pull through with just that slither of health left,
Correct.
and
Now,
because you had that little edge somewhere, and that's kind of what these skills can do.
well, I mean,
Is they
the
can give you
part that
that
just
little
bugs
edge.
me though is like, I understand they didn't really. If these are going to be kind of quote unquote, in-game ish type skills, I kind of understand it. But at the same time, it just every single solitary method that you use to get that, it's some kind of way to either make people grind or it's some kind of way to make people spend money. Like the Concord Pass, I'm pretty sure you want to earn that, you're buying the pass. You are going to be buying that pass. And then where the expert level ones come from? Please tell me.
Well, the expert level ones are actually manufactured based on chip blueprints that are obtained in Dead Space, and some of the materials for that are in Scout Cosmic Anomalies. So you're actually going to be able to grind those out in the game somewhere, which is not too bad.
No,
They
not bad.
didn't it's not really hidden behind a
It's not hidden
paywall
behind a
per se.
paywall, so that's good.
But it well, I mean, but somebody could make an argument that people who pay and get the Concord Pass are going to be able to get more of these chips, and so I guess that I heard the term "pay to progress" faster being used, and that's kind of I guess what this is. This isn't truly there's with these chips. It's not really pay to win, but if you pay for the Concord Pass, you can pay to progress faster.
I
You can
mean,
pay to get more Concord points, so you get more of the chips faster. So
to
you
be
get
honest,
more,
that's not
unlock
too
more of
bad.
those advanced.
It's not too
That's not
bad.
too
Yeah, it's
bad.
not too bad.
That's
It could be
it's really
worse.
not too bad. Yeah. So they didn't do too bad on this part of the patch. This part of the patch, not too bad.
Okay.
But there's more.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Just say it.
They
I'm gonna
added
mute myself
the
so I don't wet
intelligent.
anyone's ears.
They added in the intelligent nano core. Oh baby, golden cores. And I tell you what, um, this intelligent assistant ain't too bright from what I have understood.
Wait, they actually did
It
it. They went
doesn't.
through with it. Like I thought it was a. I thought
They,
we thought
they,
it was a fucking April Fool's Day joke.
no, no, no. We are apparently the fools. So yeah, they really did it. So
Oh
you
my gosh.
you can get yourself some botting going on legally.
Oh
But
my god.
unfortunately, the bot's kind of stupid. So it turns on all modules, and if anybody starts shooting you, it shuts everything off, and it will warp you to the most powerful anom in the system. So
What?
I heard reports of people turning that thing on and getting warped into a capital anomaly. So it's really not the intelligent the non-intelligent assistant AI. It needs more training. It needs to go back to school. It doesn't know what it's doing, but you can
Like,
get it for the right price.
wait, how much are they charging for these cores?
Oh gosh, it's you have to upgrade it. I haven't done the math on it, but you have to upgrade it. And they in the Concord store, they got the little two new materials that go to upgrading these things. And yeah, you can buy some too, of course.
And
So
exactly
you
what
can
are the
pay to
upgrades
progress.
doing? What are the upgrades doing?
Well, you apparently you add in some cores and you get extra bonuses in there, and then and then you can activate the intelligent assistant or something like that. To be honest, I haven't had a chance to really play with it, but I've heard interesting things, and I've seen some very interesting discussion. So yeah, that's Ginny just posted a picture of what it's about, like the AI. I think that's actually you got that from NetEase's own workshop, didn't you? I mean, I think that's really what the intelligent AI is. That's pretty much it. That was their whole concept. 'Cause that seems to be
Oh,
what it does. It just turns things on and off. Not really making much sense. There's no intelligence to it. It just, yeah, it's not good. It's just not good.
like
And
just I
so
don't
yeah,
I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, I understand the concept they were going for because I do have a couple of mobile games that I enjoy playing, and some of them do have something of a kind of set and forget type mode, and it's kind of good. You know, those type of games you kind of will go, well. Uh, if I want to, say, for example, get something done and I really don't have the time to play the game, but I want to progress, you open one of those games and you kind of, do that thing. But this game wasn't built with that in mind. It just, like I said, it
yeah,
feels like they basically just shoehorned it into the game ecosystem without actually thinking about it, without playtesting it, without seeing what would happen if it were included into the game, without anything really. I mean, it's just and,
yeah.
and like the biggest issue is that they're trying to treat Eve like any other mobile game, and it's not. It never was. It's not.
mm,
It's
That's
just
very true.
it's just not.
Now,
But
she even the Sound of Us says that you upgrade your purple core to legendary for 120 tesseracts for
what's a
faction.
test?
Yes,
What is
less
a
for smaller.
tesseract?
That's one of those new items that I told you about. Then you upgrade one time account wide the AI for 500 AUR. Oh, yeah, the AI cuts your is ticks in half and costs snow cones a limited time currency to use.
Wait, what? Wait, Junie's not like this isn't a joke. She's not like joking right now because I thought that was.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it doesn't. Was it? I think what she means is that because it's not intelligent AI, it's kind of stupid AI. It's not as effectively ratting as you would. So I have heard complaints that everybody's ticks seem to go down because it's just not doing what it's doing. It's supposed to be doing as effectively. So
so they tried to
yeah,
balance out the fact that they put an AFK mode into the game. They tried to balance this out by making it so that you need certain items to activate the AI in the first place. Plus, it actually cuts down what you're actually receiving from even having it.
well, mechanically, I mean, it doesn't like you turn it on and suddenly the bounty ticks reduce. No, it's just that it just isn't as effective as a normal player, and so the bounty ticks reduce because it's not doing it as fast.
Oh, okay.
It's slower.
Okay, fine.
So it cuts down on the ticks that you get. That's at least that's my understanding of it, based on what I've seen people discussing about it. You know me, I sit there and I watch what everybody talks about.
And
So
and she's
always
saying
watching.
is snow cone is a new currency in the game? This
Yeah, it's I believe it is in the Concord store. It's some kind of cone. It's some kind of cone. She just named it the snow cone. So
okay,
let's
that's fine.
let's take a look here.
Damn it, Junie, stop pulling my leg.
Okay, yeah, these materials. I have some of both, and then if you get the Nanotor collection from the Concord Pass, that's something else new that they added with this patch. That actually allows you get decoding keys for 1,000. You can buy up to 30, and then you can open up these nanocore lucky boxes. You can get Ascension Core boxes and uh, thermomagnetic things. Things for upgrading your implants and for upgrading your nanocores are included in here. Well, not your implants, you're just upgrading your nanocores. Um, so, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in these op boxes. If you want to just you've got 30,000 points just sitting there. I mean, you could end up with some cores and some things to upgrade some stuff, and
So,
you're going to get a nice mix.
out of curiosity, how many people have lost ships? Like, how many ships have been lost to this AI?
You know, I don't have any figures on that, but I can't imagine the people who got warped to zero inside of Capital Anomaly were particularly living. Uh, could be wrong, but yeah,
It's not a
I don't have
capital
any
ship, so
figures
they're
on
probably
that.
not going to get it back from the SRP gods.
No, probably not.
You know, I
But you need to fit the ship. Yeah, she makes a good point. You need to fit the ships for the AI, not for how you play. You need to fit it for how it plays. If you have to understand its level of stupid and plan accordingly. You basically have to build a ship for an idiot. That would be that would be my assessment of it. You know, because it turns everything on. It's not like you where you turn things on as needed. Everything goes on. So yeah, you're gonna have to plan accordingly. So yeah, if you put a something that like a DCU on there, I guess it's going to turn the DCU on at the start of the battle, and then when it can turn it on again, it'll turn it on again. It don't matter that it's not the appropriate time. It's just going to turn it on. At least that's my
like
understanding of the way
okay.
it plays. If anybody has tested that kind of thing, let us know in the sound of us. We'd like to hear from you if you've actually done a lot of testing with these.
Absolutely astounded by the direction that this whole thing is going. I'm
I
astounded.
I know.
I am
Yeah,
literally
I know.
astounded that
I know.
they spent development time and resource working on an AFK mode for this game, which by the way was never built, never designed for an AFK mode. Heck, just flying your autopiloting, closing the game and autopiloting your ship anywhere is a big risk depending on where you are in space. And that part of the game, I understood
Mhm.
why I needed to be there. But this, it's so. Let me get this straight. People have been asking you for more varied gameplay, such as more advanced ship classes in smaller ship sizes than capital ships. Instead, you
Yeah.
devote the resources that you could have put on that into creating an AI that can't even function at basic level, basic
Yeah.
level, the most basic capsulator out there. A day one pilot can probably fly better than some of these things can fly from what I'm hearing. And
You know.
I would be embarrassed. I would be fucking embarrassed to say that I sat there and that I invested resources and I invested programming time putting this in a game. I would be embarrassed by
I
it.
know.
And at this point,
I know.
I feel like I know that the devs are just doing their jobs for corporate. And I think that this is probably part of the reason why they don't play their own game. I think they're ashamed of it because I sure as hell would be ashamed of it. I would be ashamed of it. Like
You
really,
know. You
really.
know. I bet you they play. I bet you they play Second Galaxy. You know.
Okay, guys, do you remember Do you remember back when Final Fantasy I think 14 came out for the first time? Those of us that are MMO gamers who basically have always played fantasy games probably remember that the first one was an absolute train wreck. It was so bad that the development team went up there and they apologized for how bad the game was and took it back. I mean, it was a heartfelt apology from these game developers that they realized that their game was so bad that it needed to be shut down and rebuilt. And when they rebuilt the game, they gave us A Realm Reborn. They handed it to us. Those of us that had bought the game already, we got it for free. You know what I mean? We got to help beta test it and stuff. You know what I mean? That was their way of saying that they're sorry. It's like, it's like the first version of Final Fantasy 14, as bad as it was, is better than Eve Echoes is right now. That's the horrible part. I mean, like, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say anymore. I really don't even know what to say anymore because I would have sworn, and by the way, I'm not exactly, of the Christian faith, but I would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that there was no way they were going to make this game worse. There was no way that they could make the train wreck worse than it already was when I left the game to take care of real life things, and somehow they managed to once again prove me wrong. And so I think that it's a career thing, right? They make a career out of proving their content creators wrong, and that's the problem.
They're really good. They're really good at their job, and apparently their job is just to screw with our heads. But maybe they can redeem themselves with the balance adjustments and everything that they did. Maybe,
They can
maybe
redeem
there's some
themselves.
redemption in this patch. Let's see what we found here. They changed the mothership defense module. Calculation damage bonus is just be the same as con modules and rigs. And 3-star time has been reduced by 60 seconds. So yeah, that may or may not be good. Let me know the sound of us. Anybody out there want to test it? Go ahead and take a look. Uh, They added items to Intelligent Nanocore, such as the Coding Key, Tesseract Star Core, and the Amethyst Cone, and more. I love it how they add the and more surprises in store, people. All right. Recommend added items related to the Intelligent Nanocore, such as the Decoding Key, the Intelligent Nanocore Cultivation Bundle, the Nanocore Material Bundle, and the Amethyst Cone, and more. So that's on the recommended page. I believe that's where you actually have to spend either AUR, which means real money, and among these items, the Intelligent Nanocore Cultivation Bundle is an item with a permanent purchase limit, while the Nanocore Material Bundle and the Amethyst Cone come with a weekly purchase limit. So you can spend money, but only so much. Okay? Then they have that Nanocore Lucky Chest that's available in the store. You use the decoding keys to open it. You'll be granted a Battleship Nanocore Op box within 60 times. After that, the Nanocore Lucky Chest will keep rotating to match the current theme, allowing all capsuleers to exchange for the Nanocore of their choice. The decoding key can be purchased through the store or exchanged in the Concord Pass shop. Now, you can only get 30 out of the Concord Pass shop, so I guess if you want to get that for 60, you got to spend something. I don't know if maybe it's going to hold over next season. Maybe I don't know. If anybody knows the answer to that, let us know. Now they did add a new event in, which is very interesting. It's a twofold event. It's the Awakening Iron Rain event. Now that goes from the 22nd to April 5th at 0800 UTC. So we've got another week and a half of it or so. It's about the sleepers, which are apparently some ancient beings who disappeared thousands of years ago and left behind some trace of their existence. Now they're calling out to New Eden, and in the face of the approaching threat, the leaders of New Eden are in a heated debate over what to do. Now, there's two parts about this. There's the faction conflict, which is basically the whole doves versus hawks thing. Um, I don't really understand why they went with hawks and doves. I really would have thought that they would have chosen some sort of actual uh, Eve thing, you
I
know?
am really confused about what you're talking about at this point. I am like really
Well,
that
the fact
confused.
well, I mean, it's a new event. There's two parts. There's a faction conflict and awakening land. Now, the faction conflict is it takes place. You're doing missions. It's a mission based thing, and it's got a storyline to it. And you're choosing a side. You're either choosing the hawks or choosing the doves, and you're kind of choosing a side and progressing and earning some rewards.
I mean,
Uh,
couldn't they have just, you know,
it
never mind.
I know, and it's not it's an interesting little storyline. I will give them that. Uh, so far, I found that it's interesting.
Yeah, that it provides something to do, I guess, which
Yeah,
is always a nice thing, right?
yeah, yeah, and and I have noticed that because of the war and the massive blueness, my alts in Crabco have a much easier time getting just the almost AFKing on these nodes in hard mode because they more of the blues take the grids as opposed to my alts in the demolition or I guess razzle dazzle now. Uh, they have a little bit harder time, but not much. They're still very good. The ones that are not aligned, that's where the real fun is, because then you're really fighting. I've enjoyed just charging in, and there have been times that I've charged in, and it's actually Razzle versus Crabco, and I just get the third party, and I don't know whose side is on who until somebody starts trying to shoot me, and then I just shoot them. So it's real fun doing this event as a gray. So there's some fun to be had actually in this event. People are really complaining about that first level, and you just got to do that level a little bit, and then you get to move on to the fun content. And then you go ahead and you still do that when you don't got anything else to do to get yourself some extra points because it's a separate point total. You get that extra 1,800 every day. If that's all you do, you can still earn some nice rewards if you're doing it every day in the event. And it's good for the low level people who can't fight at the level that is in the hard mode. You got people in faction battleships and everything just slugging it out. Faction cruisers, faction frigates, and interceptors, and just everything. And then you got the people who just go in there and just get popped because they went in there in their little covert ops frigate and yeah, popped just like a little balloon. Worth 60 points. But then the real fun, the real fun, is the expert mode. Now that's where capital ships are allowed to enter. So the same thing, but with capital ships.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
that's a risky
a
investment
lot.
to field a capital ship in a PvE
Well,
PvE content right
well,
now, isn't it?
here's the thing. There's no loss on this. It doesn't matter how many times you die. You go back. Everything is still the same. Even the
Oh, cool.
drones that were killed in the other system are back on your ship.
Wow, that's not bad.
So no loss at all. There's no risk at all. So that's why I said the real fun because this is your chance to break out your capital ship and just slug it out in PvP. If you die, you just go back in your capital ship because you didn't lose it.
Yeah, and I
You
think
go
that's
right back in.
it really is kind of interesting. We have been asking the devs to do something like that with faction war games for how long?
I know, and this is kind of close. It's not really faction war games, other than it's player faction because your blues are still blue, okay?
I
But there's
know,
no kill
but
mills, and
what I'm
some
getting
there
at is that
have
they
been
could do
some
this.
blues that have been actually abusing that and popping other blues for points. I've actually sat there and watched. It's been a whole blue field, and suddenly one of them is in a pod.
Uh,
Somebody just wanted that 60
yeah.
points.
I'm sorry. I still feel like this is just one big ass beta test. Sorry, like, wow.
There have been theories about why they're just having you sitting there scanning this thing for so long. Because if you're just sitting there scanning, it's an hour and a half, and it's an hour and a half for each level. Because on the expert, each tick is 30 points, and you're trying to get that 5,400 points off of that. Now, a capital ship, though, if you kill a capital ship, that's worth 300 points. Subcapsor is 60. Each tick varies on your level. 10 in normal, hard is 20, and expert is 30. So, yeah. And then you can actually get some decent things in the store. Some people said, well, there's nothing to buy. There's nothing to buy. Well, that's not true. I mean, granted, yeah, I mean it's not like mind blowing, like you can buy some sort of Death Wish core or something like that. But there's some decent stuff. You can actually get some free SP, 2,500 points each, and on that I believe you get is it 30,000? Yes, 30,000 skill points. For 1,000 points, you can get Lazarus units, and so you get 50,000 on that. You can get that 10 times, and for SP, I believe you can also get uh, 5 times, I believe. Yeah, 5 times. And you can get a Coveter Mining Master skin for 7,500. And it's also in this store where you get those weapon skill op boxes for a billion ISK each. Now you can get some stuff for your implants. You can get depth neural compilers and Genesis neural compilers. The depths are 1,000 each, and you can actually buy 10 of those. And then the Genesis are 2,000 each, and on those you can buy 5. So you can get some things to help boost that up some too. Additionally, you can get a clone bound classified 3 gravitational waveguide, and you can buy that just once, and run it. Obviously, it's just like the one that you can spend 80 AUR to get, but it's clone bound, so you can't sell it, but you can run it and then profit off of the goodies that you get. But the real prize on this, and it's something that well, could be very useful given the war and given the fact that this is structure warfare, is the frigate nanocore op box. Now you can buy that one time for 20,000 points, and that's actually the bomber. So it's the neon gas core for bombers. Gets you Purifier, Manticore, Nemesis, Hound, and you also got it's also for the Magnate, Heron, Imicus, and Probe. So your covert op frigates also.
Well, I
But yeah,
mean,
you can get yourself a neon gas core for
well,
'em.
I'm glad that
It's a very very pretty one
they're
too.
doing some stuff with it. It's at least, like I said, it provides content for the game. But
Yeah,
and yet, in spite of that, it's, well, you were saying that there's been, which is something that probably should be talked about during Eve Talk for the community part of the broadcast. There is actually a council for like a player made council to try to save Eve Echoes.
there is.
Okay.
And yeah, that is something that we're going to talk about. But I think that I've had my full of this chat. We need some music to soothe things off
My
on this.
gosh,
What do we got,
yes,
Kenzie?
yeah, well, we are continuing the dance party because this has been
Featuring
a
Eden's
really
best and
interesting.
brightest on New Eden FM.
And since my good friend and host Alandria is still doing well, pretty new at this whole thing. Welcome to the Eve Echoes Content Creators Corner, where we feature New Eden's best and brightest, and of course, give a huge shout out to those fellow content creators who are like us, striving to try to bring you player-made content about Eve Echoes. Of course, one of them is in the studio at the moment, and one of them is out there in the lounge. Big shout out to Rambo. Of course, you know he has his podcast, The Echoes of New Eden, which comes to you every Sunday night. The time can be a little bit variable, but generally you're looking at anywhere between 6 to 8 Central Standard Time, U.S. Time. Be sure to check out that show. And also be sure to check out all of the awesome videos that my good friend Damon Zell is still putting out. He was here in the studio, or he was here in the lounge, I should say, a little bit earlier, but he probably took off, had to do some things. He's always showing up, always supporting the show. Love him to death for doing that. And of course, Mario Penterman, whom is responsible for the Echoes MobiBot, which is essentially kind of sort of taken everything by storm at this point. Probably, if I'm not mistaken, it's the most popular kill counting bot in New Eden right now. Anyone care to disagree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the most popular one.
No. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Because prior to that, it was PM Blue's Octulus bot. But Mario Penterman is running the Echoes MobiBot, and of course, it is where we get our statistics for the state of the war, covering everything going on between Razzle Dazzle 2.0 and the Crab Company. It is not 150% like, okay, this is the definitive numbers. It doesn't tally in our +8 community who cannot use the bot, but it does capture enough that we have a general retrospects on what's going on during the state of the war. But this is the Content Creators Corner, and I'd like to take a moment to welcome again my good friend Sheev, who is always in here to provide more sunny insight into the things that that's being done from a creation standpoint than I can, because you know I'm a bit of a I'll admit I can be a bit of a bitch these days. Concerning when I'm doing these shows, I'm pretty just like fix it. But one thing I do love about you, Sheev, is that you do see things in more of a positive light, and I thank you for that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I hope you boys and girls have a great evening. And yeah, I'm always here.
Yeah. So what have you been up to these days, my friend?
Well, I have been up to I'm trying to get the AI to love me, pretty much. That's what I've been doing, and I've been working on fitting my ships so that the AI does not, destroy my ticks, and trying to understand why we got this instead of the other stuff that we actually need.
I asked that same question. I was hoping that maybe you could explain it to me, because I wasn't sure. Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, yeah.
We all want other things in this game, but I mean, we get what we get, and this time I think I'm the only one, only content creator at least, that I'm a little bit okay with this, since as soon as this launched, I personally had friends starting this game, right away. They're like, oh, I can do stuff AFK, and I was like, yeah, I guess a bit. I hadn't tried it yet. But yeah, it kind of seems like that. Oh shit, then I might have time to play the game.
Well, that's good.
So they're coming back to the game, and I've heard this from both in the comments on my videos and on Discord, that people really like this.
Well,
so
that's good.
I had to change my head around this and try to understand, why would you do this? Why, for me, when I edit my videos, I cannot really do manual encounters myself, because you still have to lock, right? You still have to warp, and I get off track, so I can't do that. And for me to do the AFK thing is actually kind of good, but now everyone is not in my situation. But we have people who can only play maybe 2 hours every evening or every other evening, and then they have breaks on the work, and they can't do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they can like have the phone, as they say, like on the work AFK without watching it, and then when they get home they have their 2 hours to play, they can go out and they can do PvP or CTA or whatever. uh, they got really happy. So
Well, I
we
mean,
got to the issue, yeah.
I had this guy that I used to that he was in like my past two corporations. You know, pretty good fellow, and he was a father. You know, with a wife and I think 3 kids at home, right? And he didn't really have an opportunity to play the game when he got home, so he did the majority of his playing while he was at work. And when he got home,
Yeah.
we'd rarely ever see him. So, you know, for someone like that, I can see how this would be a really beneficial addition to the game.
Yes, it's those circumstances. Then I mean, we're not talking about the general issue that the game will have when the ISK flow is coming, when all the minerals are, you know, I mean, we still have mineral problems. We've had it since the start. We, in a way, we didn't have the ISK problem, but we're gonna get it. So hopefully Netis have an idea, as I said in the chat here, that they have an. I mean, we're gonna get Titans. We're gonna get all this stuff that they wanna put in the game, and how you're gonna get that money, right? But yeah, I mean, they need to get us goals in the game for that actually makes up for this extra income that we're gonna get for those who wanna have it, of course.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Well,
But yeah, I,
it is what it is.
what I think, yeah, what I think was actually really good about this was that when I started the AI first time, my ship, I think I got like 2 million ticks in T10, and you know, I
Wow.
couldn't shoot the frigates. I couldn't do, like, the ship behaves weird. It webs one, it shoots another, and sometimes it warps away to a safe spot and just like rest a bit. And I was like, dude, this is really bad. I mean, it's an alpha, right? But I mean, it's really bad. And then I started, you know, doing my, like, before I do PvP, yes, I think about my ships, you know, like everyone does it, right?
Of course.
We fit our ships, and that's the best part. So I had like 2 days, like 3 days now, but I've been, you know, fitting this ship and testing stuff out. You know, if it auto loots, if it like, if I have one hardeners or 2 hardeners or micro drive or whatever. And I got my ticks up to like 7 million, and like yesterday, and now my ticks are up at 11. Yeah, I think 11 million, and that's only for the ticks. And then you have all the bounty, like not the bounty, but the mission rewards. So now I'm up at, yeah, 50 million an hour
That's not too
AFK,
bad.
and I can actually put, yeah, it's not bad. I can put my phone and I can go away for, you know, 8 hours if I would like to, and that, I mean, that AI would still be farming.
You know, I
You know,
think what would have been
no, yeah.
really nice had they done this, because I know what irritates me is that it just feels like it wasn't really a super well thought out detail, right? Most games that have like an AFK mode similar to this, they will allow you to kind of, even though the AI is going to do a lot of work for you and you're never going to get as much out of the AI as you will from doing it yourself, you can either earn a way to do it or pay for a way to do it, where you can basically program the directives of the AI and how it will respond in some circumstances. And so you basically have to teach your AI tactics in order to get it to behave in specific ways. This is maybe something that they can think about doing later on in the future. I don't know. They have a really bad track record for revisiting things once they've already implemented them and put them into
Yeah.
the game. But I think that if they could put in a way where people can actually get these AI to, I suppose, behave in a way where it feels like there's at least player input. Because, I mean, I'm not a computer programmer, but I do know many computer programmers, and one thing we know as a general, you know, generally speaking, no computer is ever going to behave the way that you want it to unless you tell it to do that. Someone had to tell the computer, this is how you run this operation before it can do it. And I think that when it comes
Yeah.
to AIs in video games, they can really be no different. If you have a specific play style, you need to be able to program the AI as closely as you can to what your play style is and what you want to do with this particular ship build. If you can do that, then I think that no one can see anything bad about the system, but when you have what is considered a one size fits all kind of situation, it's not going to work well because everyone's playstyle is different, everyone's expectation is different, everyone's skill level is different. And I
Yeah.
just think that that's a way that they can fix it, right? A way that they can make it
Yeah.
better than what it is.
I I think the situation we have today, if you don't know the game and you buy this AI, you're gonna lose your shit. Definitely. And you're not gonna understand why, and it's gonna be a piss poor idea. The AI doesn't work. So you need the insight in the game. You need to know how the game works, and you also need to understand how the AI works. Now, granted, this is only gonna be for a month or maybe 2 months, and then it's gonna be builds on the internet, probably like how you do a Vindicator work, how do you have your APOC work. But I felt the most fun was to actually figure this out myself, and I have to say, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Now we can only pick like how many system it will jump and if it's gonna be encounters or anomalies. But if we could make the like have the situation where we could tell the AI to shoot the webbed first or the painted first or stuff like that, then we can actually manipulate the AI a little bit more and maybe always say that you warp in at 100, so then you can have a sniper build and do it like that way. Then we have like a pretty cool idea, I think. But also, I have to say, like I'm not for AFK. It's not nothing that I really like. But if we have AFK for the basic encounters today, then they should have for lack of better words, like heroic encounters that we can do when we get home, when we are active, when we actively play. We have to manually move our ships so that we like align right, because the AI can't do that. But we can have it for the simplest task, right?
Right,
I
but
think that
allowing
is
people to program the
it's
AI
an okay idea.
behave the way
Yeah.
that they want it to, and I think
Yes.
that that's what it needs, though. It needs that, and the biggest problem, and this is something that can be covered during Eve Talk. Um, I don't know how much time, because personally I don't spend a whole lot of time on Reddit myself, but but one of the biggest complaints that is often spoken on Reddit is how the community isn't being listened to by the devs. So it's like they can implement a good idea or implement something that could be a good idea, but it's not fleshed out, right? It needs more work. If they would just listen to their community and how they can fix it, everybody would win. Everybody would get what they want because they got to implement their idea. The players play tested it, and I mean it's a live game. It's not like this is beta testing. It's not like I mean people are paying to play this, so it's like they can
Yeah.
still win. They can come out ahead just by listening to player feedback and just putting in tweaks and stuff like that. If and and that is my frustration with the game. I feel like there are so many good ideas that have come into this game. Great ideas. You implement this, you put this in. I didn't agree with you calling faction carriers motherships because we all know that super carriers are actually motherships. And so if you ever
Yeah.
decide to put in super carriers, well, that's going to be a very interesting, like, what are you going to call them, right? Like, it's going to be weird. But
Yeah.
but I thought that the overall how the ships perform, what they do, that was kind of creative. I kind of like that, right? Everything that they do is not bad. Everything they do isn't sour. It's the fact that they don't listen to their community when people are trying to tell them, okay, so this is broken. This needs to be addressed. And I mean, if your entire community is saying the exact same thing and you're gonna not do anything about it anyway, that gets frustrating. Or drop something in the game and then never, go back and never worry about it. Don't fix it or anything. It's like, I mean, guys,
Yeah. That-
this could use more work. This could really use more work. It's a
Yeah.
good idea, but it needs more work. The execution is just bad. Like if you could change this or tweak this, oh, but we really get at the end of the day, or are you just going to keep on shoehorning more and more of the mobile AFK game aspects in? I mean, it's like you're a jack of all trades, but you're a master of none. There are other games that do
Yeah.
AFK gameplay significantly better than Eve Echoes does. You know,
Yeah.
Definitely,
this game
definitely.
this game wasn't designed to be played
That's my
AFK.
that's the
Playing
problem.
AFK is what gets you popped. And my understanding is that if this if you're running the AI and you get targeted, everything shuts down and you just sit there and wait to die.
All right. Well,
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. You're gonna die. But
You're gonna
I
die.
think as I say before, this game is meant to be like played for one type of way, and NetEase build games that works in different ways. So they will try to implement everything from their other games that actually make money and see if it works. And that's kind of where we are. It doesn't matter what we say really. They have paper on what makes money, right?
I mean, what
Yeah,
makes money is
and
retaining
Like
you know
players.
that
Farmville probably makes a shit ton of money. You know,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
the thing about it is they're also marketing to the Chinese market as well because the international server that we play on is a drop in the bucket compared to the Chinese server. That's where their real bread and butter is.
I
So
don't know
they're
yeah,
about
going
I
to be
that.
guess.
They make a
Yeah,
marketing their
lot of
events and
they
things
make a
like that
lot of
towards
money
that.
from the Western territories. A lot of money.
Well,
yeah. I
the
wouldn't know.
Chinese server is a lot larger though. Its volume, from my understanding, there's a lot of Chinese players over there.
Hmm. Well, I wish them
Well,
the absolute
I don't
I
best.
have
guess.
the actual statistics myself, but when enough people say that most of their money is coming from the Chinese server,
Okay.
and compared to ours, then I haven't back checked the statistics myself, but I just took a few people at their word.
I mean, no, that's
But
that's good.
yeah,
I'm
so
fine with it if they're then I get it. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, and my goodness, I want to go on the record and point out that this is a multicultural show. I feel like if you are making the majority of your money over there, then it's fine, but don't treat the rest of your community like second class citizens. And because
yeah,
we're still paying you too. At least I used to pay him. I don't pay him anymore. We're paying you a lot of money as
yeah,
well.
well,
You know what I mean? If you feel that way where you only
Yeah,
want to
mhm,
service one community, then take your fucking game and bring it just to that one community. But stop disrespecting
yeah,
and just trotting all over your other community members and pretending like you care or whatever. And I'll be honest, as a community, I mean, everyone else should be as as angry as I am about that. Like, guys, like, stop giving these people your money. If you
oh
think
yeah,
that they feel this way and the only thing that they have a hard on for is their Chinese community, well then fine. Then their Chinese community can pay all their bills, but don't download their damn app. Don't swipe your credit card for them. And let them know that this is not acceptable, because as long as they feel like it's acceptable for them to treat their Western audience the way that they will, they're going to continue to completely walk all over their Western audience, and it's bullshit. I'm sorry, it's bullshit.
yeah, and a lot of people are saying the same thing, and so they're kind of forming a CSM council. But
Yeah,
I think that's something that we can cover in Eve Talk after we do State of the
we
War.
do
But
have
before we
State
do
of the
State of the
War.
War, we'll have Bradrick from Silent Federation,
Bot
Bot 5
five,
Alliance.
the
My
Bot
man.
Five Alliance.
Yes, he is in studio here with us and will be joining us for the State of the War segment. But before we have
Excellent.
that, Mackenzie, what do you have to bring us into this?
Yeah.
This is your Eve Echo State of the War report.
And welcome to the Eve Echo State of the War report, which is again brought to you by Echoes.mobi, which is the totally awesome killbot run by Mario Penterman. And Alondria, I will go ahead and turn this one over to you, my mistress of mayhem.
All right. All right, and speaking of the Echoes MobiBot, we do have the latest war statistics for you. Seems like Razzle Dazzle is still well ahead in the ISK war. They have 25,859 total kills with a total value of 28 trillion 63 billion 692 million 167,273 ISK. That's a lot. That is a lot. I know. Now they've killed 76 capsules though. I don't understand why people post capsules. But 25 shuttles, 7,764 frigates, 1851 destroyers, 2,288 cruisers, 4,205 battle cruisers, 4,963 battleships, and 2,175 industrial ships. So that is a lot of subcaps that have died. And here's the big kicker. Here's the big money items. 81 carriers now they've killed. 26 dreadnoughts. 3 force auxiliaries. 9 freighters. 1 jump freighter. And 1 capital industrial ship. I believe that would be a Rorqual. And as
Ouch.
far as structures go, they've actually killed 301 capsuleer outposts. 16 corporation citadels Type 1 destroyed, and 1 Type 2 Level 2 captured. So, not a lot on the corporation citadel there yet, but now that they are invading the pasture, I would expect that number to go up. Now, Crab Company has killed 20,183 total kills, valued at 19 trillion 830 billion 718 million 270,402 ISK. That's still quite a bit. That is a lot of damage as well. They have actually reported 96 capsules, so they report more capsules than people in Razzle-Dazzle do. 13 shuttles, 7669 frigates, 1394 destroyers, 2836 cruisers, 2735 battle cruisers, 3277 battleships, and 1234 industrial ships. All right. Let's take a look here at the capital ships, the big money. How good have they done there? We're up to 36 carriers, 32 dreadnoughts, 1 force auxiliary, 2 freighters, 2 jump freighters, and no capital industrial ships. So, seems like Brazzle has caught more people moving, I guess. A lot more freighters they've caught. Structure-wise, though, we've got 739 capsuleer outposts that have been killed. That is a substantial number. That's a lot of unhappy pilots. 77 Corporation Citadel 1s, 40 Corporation Citadels 2, and 17 Corporation Citadel 3. So I don't know that those numbers, as far as the Corporation Citadels, is really going to change too much because, Silent has actually burned the rest of their SOV.
I mean, I'm not even mad at him for doing that. I'm not mad at him for doing that. I mean, my friends killed my POS earlier this week, right? Like, it was, people from my corporation killed it. Like, I was like, good. Okay. Great.
Oh my. But yeah, that's the worst statistics. And moving on to the war news, the big news is that Silent has decided that they are going to move south. They are going to have their eye on the pasture, TSC's lands, and they have burned their own SOV in the north, and with singular focus have moved to the south.
Oh, well,
and I have been seeing a lot of I've been seeing a lot of defense ops for the pasture and whatnot, but we do have Bradrick here in the studio. So Bradrick, what's going on here? Y'all burned everything and then moved to the south, and then I think the cows are making some extra patties. What's going on?
Chaos. How we like it.
There you go.
My perspective on it is 7 days. Sorry about that. My perspective on it is I'm fine with it. When I first got my first pause in the north with Silent, the first thing my corporation leader told me was, don't worry about it, it'll probably get blown up and we'll just build another. Like, that's the attitude that Silent has when it comes to it's not necessarily important. Um, I've had that pause for almost 2 years, I believe, and I still have it throughout the entire war. It's been in whole once. I didn't even come online for it. They just kind of told me, yeah, it's still good. And when they told me to pack it up, I packed it up, and that was that. You know, it's interesting that a lot, and I think a lot of people think differently about that. And I've seen a lot of people. I've had a lot of discussions on Reddit about just the feelings that players have towards Saab, and it's completely different in other places. But my experience since I've been a member of Silent is they don't really care, not to the same degree as others do. So when they had a discussion, because I know it's a misconception that this was a knee-jerk reaction, but it wasn't. They had a discussion in the higher leadership about it, and they actually asked everyone thought about the move, and the information got down the chain to all the conversation with all the members. And I'm assuming this was throughout every corporation, because I know for a fact my leadership did it. And they asked us what we thought, and I essentially told them, they were like, yeah, we want to move to Delve. And I was like, yeah. I like the North. I'm a member of the North. I like the soft in areas here. I live here. We fight here. I kind of live everywhere, but we fight primarily here. But they explained their position on it, and I was fine with that, because Saab didn't matter to me personally as a pilot anyway. So wherever Silent wants to go and live and fight and do their thing, I'll that.
That's great. And so it's not this isn't something that the leaders of Silent just decided willy-nilly to do, and they're just forcing everybody to pack up. This is something that your community discussed and talked about and decided together. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. It was introduced, I don't know the exact time frame, but it was quite a while ago actually. And it was introduced, and they gave it time to make the rounds and talk to everybody and make sure that the alliances talk to the CEO leadership, and the CEOs talk to the members. We gave them our feedback on it. We in my corporation at least, we actually thinking of the pros and cons and what do we want to do, and does everybody want to do it? And by the time it got to public knowledge, it had been discussed thoroughly.
Well, that's great. You actually don't see that in a lot of alliances, but that's really interesting to hear. And so y'all decided this, and then y'all went about it. Y'all blew up your own Saab. I'm sure the kill mills on those are particularly interesting.
Yeah. We at first we built it up. We stayed. We made Declan what Declan is, or what it has been for the last couple of years, and that was fun. And fighting the wars have been fun, and defending the North has been. We fought some of the toughest organizations that the game has to. We've been at it with No. They fought FF. So it's been interesting, and we've always been about being a organization that fights wars, and so it's been extremely interesting. And then this is just yet another endeavor that's difficult, that people will see as impossible, that people will see as, oh, they can't do this. Oh, how are they going to do this? Oh, this isn't going to work. And when we come out on the other end, like we always do, we plan to come out where we plan to come out. If we want to take Delve, Silent will do it. If anyone will do it, Silent will do it. They've done everything else they've ever set out to do.
Well, I'm going to be interested in seeing how this plays out. I just recently started seeing the pings going out for defense of the pasture and whatnot. So I guess things are just now starting to heat up, because y'all have finished your move to the south and gotten all staged and ready for the next stage in your campaign.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about, like, on Reddit. They like at first they were like saying, oh, leaving the, or they're moving, or they're not going to really attack, and I'll just be laughing because I'm like, I have no idea the dedication in some of these pilots. Like, if they tell you it's happening, oh, it's happening. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's definitely happening.
Well, that's good. I'm excited to see a change of pace. This is definitely. I don't think the rest of New Eden was really expecting this particular move by Silent. So I'm
Oh
going
yeah,
to be real interested in to see how this plays out. I'm now looking at all of this as a neutral entity myself because the corp I'm in game is gray to pretty much the galaxy. So it's very interesting to be able to look at both sides and kind of take a neutral perspective as well. So
well, with everything
I'm
going on,
sitting here with
we were
popcorn
discussing.
watching.
Yeah, with everything going on like it has been in like with NetEase and the frustrations of the players, including myself, I think this move kind of actually helps the game stay interesting. And from my perspective, if we kept with the mundane practice of just defense in the north and not really like that CTAs that started just not happening, like people would show up, some people wouldn't show up. So it just kind of
Yeah.
grinded to a halt up north. And with NetEase is their new releases on stuff and players being very unhappy, something drastic in game needed to happen in order to keep people interested. It's just my honest opinion.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely a drastic move, moving your entire organization to another part of the galaxy. That is a drastic move, and I'm going to be interested to seeing how it plays out for Silent and its pilots, and how it plays out for the pilots that you're going to be attempting to displace. So I'm sure they are going to have a lot of content right on their doorstep.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, for a lot of those guys in the north, it's not the first time. So the north wasn't the place where Silent originated. If people pay attention to like history, a lot of those organizations come from Delve and other areas anyway already. So
Well,
Yeah, you actually
Silent.
have Starcats up there. They used to live in Delve.
Okay, fam, all the way in the south. We were neighbors for a while, I think. But if I'm not mistaken, Silent and Bradrick, please correct me if I'm wrong. In the earlier part, they had a lot of influence from Goonswarm in Eve Online, of course, Matani, and so a lot of what Silent has done, it does come from the Goons playbook. It's not a bad playbook to rip
yeah,
from, by the way.
yeah. Some of it originated there. Some of the ideas. I mean, you just take and you look at things objectively. The goons in EO have been very successful in some of their endeavors. And so if you look at that from an objective perspective, it's smart to just say, oh, this works. Why not do this? So it does. A lot of it does come from there. I would say.
Great.
Which is, it's the same mentality that I preached to when I was CEO of Bell. When I when we went into a war, I always told them the exact same thing. Listen, guys, we fight to defend our shit. If it gets blown up, it gets blown up. That's fine. I don't care. If we get to a point where we know for a fact we're going to get invaded by like overwhelming forces, we're just going to, we're gonna send Poku this and not give a shit. So last week my friends went and they set a hold timer. I was told by one of my ex corporation members that the whole timer was set, and I was like, okay, cool. And then he sends me the kill mail the next day, and I was expecting to see silent names on it, but as it turns out, my friends turned around and they killed my pass for me, and I was like, you know what? Good. I'm glad. I'm like, thanks for keeping it in the family, because when it comes down
There
to
you
it,
go.
if you can shoot your own shit, when you are willing to shoot your own shit, it is not only something that is good for you from a morale standpoint, it also shows your enemies something very important. Anybody who is willing to shoot their own shit is basically saying, this is how we feel about Saab, this is how we feel about stuff. I mean, you might be attached to it, but I don't care. And most of the members of Burke kind of feel the same way from my experience. We were always like that when Mel was like, "Hey, we're going to war." The first time, I think we were going to war with Void, and I was basically like, "Hey, dude, is it time? Like, do we just like kill off our Sav now?" It's like, "No, we're not killing off our Sav now. Like, slow down." Like, all right. But most of the people were like, "Oh, we gotta shoot it. Fine, we're gonna shoot it." Silent actually did it, and so. Have you guys? I know, Brad. I know you haven't really had an opportunity to really play the game, but has the siege on Delve like started yet? Because we heard about this like last week, and I'm curious. It's like this is one war story. I might not care as much about Eve Echoes and what the devs are doing, but this is a war story right here. I'm interested in this.
Well, to be completely honest, the attacks on Delves with Black Ops and Cold Ops attacks, and just the guys that don't get enough credit are the Roughnecks. I give them a lot of credit for a lot of the work that we do when it comes to Cold Ops and Black Ops operations. A lot of the stuff isn't known about because we can't really talk about it for the most part. But we've been attacking while defending in other larger areas all over the map for a couple of months. So those attacks started a while ago. Now, as far as CTA size attacks, I don't think those have started yet. But I know, Bot 5 and other organizations are already in Delve. They're attacking.
I know Bot 5 is in Delve. Bot 5, my first real memories of like war with Bot 5 was when they were literally log off trapping systems in Delve when I was still a Pantheon FC. So yeah, I know what Bot 5 does, and I know how they play the game, and I know how they conduct war. So that doesn't even surprise me that they're already on the offensive. Bot 5 got on the offensive on day one, if I'm not mistaken. When this war started, we immediately started seeing Bot 5 pilots in other places. We saw them on defense, but we saw Bot 5 pilots in more areas than most of the other members, like the other alliances, in Silent, which I thought was pretty interesting. But it's what I've come to expect from your organization. Nevertheless,
Yeah, Bot's a hammer.
Yeah, I,
hmm
I would agree with that assessment. You're definitely a PvP alliance.
Yeah, and the thing about Bot 5 is it's so multifaceted because you'll see, the large groups of Bot 5 elites doing certain things in Delve and other areas. But then we have a contingency of small ship pilots, we have a contingency of co-ops operations. So it's a heavy PvP alliance that, we just need the word go most of the time. We're usually the first ones out of the chute.
The tip of the sword, so to speak.
Yeah, we get a lot of support and help from Care Bears and guns, or from BNI. Saku has always been huge on the offensive. The European time zone has always been huge. Actually, in past wars, the European time zone was way more, offensive than we were. Because like a lot of times we struggle to get CTAs in U.S. time zones, in the late U.S. time zones. It's kind of what got me into just doing co-op stuff. It's because when I would be online, like everybody else would be sleeping.
No, that's
Well, I
kind of
guess
odd.
you kind of yeah. Well, I guess you have to kind of adapt your playstyle to who you have to play with. So I guess that makes sense. And I
At that
happen to
time, they had a lot
enjoy
of yeah. At that
I
time,
enjoy that.
they had a lot of CTAs in the earlier time zones, and I guess that was timers the way they were set. But that fighting, most of the time, I would actually miss a lot of those CTAs. I would be coming on the tail end, and so I would end up just mostly doing, co-op stuff in enemy space.
Yeah, the earlier parts of the war from when we first started going on offense, almost every timer was like late U.S. Like 5 p.m. Central Time or whatever, maybe seven,
Yeah,
somewhere
this war
between
I've been
there.
able to fight heavily.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been able to join CTAs heavily in this war.
yeah, those were those were pretty good for everyone except for our EU bunch, because by the time we were going like to actually fight you guys, it was like oh man, it was like 2 a.m. sometimes 3 a.m. in Berlin and London, and other areas like that. So our EU pilots absolutely hated you. They absolutely hated
Yes.
you guys because those timers were definitely U.S. prime. And for the rest of us that live in the U.S., it was like, well, I mean, I guess we're up. So we ended up having our EU team ended up doing the majority of the things like setting timers, doing follow-ups, and doing a lot of general harassment in your space, while the U.S. Crew was mostly for like cleanup. So we would have to form the bigger fleets and go in for the major CTA fights. And I'll be honest, I mean the number of silent players that we fought during the U.S. time zones, it was pretty impressive. So I don't really, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I don't really see like any weakness in the U.S. time zone. At least when I was fighting silent, you guys were pretty strong there.
Yeah. So, and again, it just depends on the timers and the availability of pilots on those timers. Because the U.S. timers were more prevalent during this war than the past wars, we've actually been able to get those guys together and say, hey, guys, this is on us. This is ours. Like I know the past wars where we be catching the tail end of stuff and doing defense stuff and fighting skirmishes. That's kind of how the last wars were for me personally. And that's where most of the guys that I played with, that's kind of how we played. But this war particularly was almost all U.S. time zone. So it was just all us majority of the time. So we just had to step it up a notch.
Nothing wrong with that. It is, and it's good to see. I mean, well, Silent has definitely. I gotta tell you, you were right. You do have that. You have that saying that Silent is built differently, and they have proved that they are built differently because every other organization that has been under as much pressure did in fact, did in fact collapse. Um, and you guys continue to fight. And I do admire the fact that you have a new goal in mind. Moving into Delve, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you have seen the terrain in Delve. It can be a little bit tricky to navigate, and there's a lot of places that you can set up traps. Specifically, the cows. And I talked to Rose and Beast about this on last week when we had the State of the War. Where the cows live, they live in one of the greatest pipe systems in Eve Online and Eve Echoes. You go in there and there's one way in, there's one way out, and so you guys are gonna have to be on your game plan if you really want to run the cows out of Delve. It just because of not only are you fighting. Crab Coalition, you're also fighting the terrain itself. You know what I mean? It's not the most favorable place to fight.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think so. But I think Silence up to the challenge. The leadership that we have, the FCs, they brainstorm this stuff all the time. The big raptors, we can change doctrine, as everyone has seen. Silent can change doctrine at the drop of a dime to change to what they're dealing with. And we've been able to do that because of the amount of people actively engaged, not just in game, on Discord and talking about doctrine and talking about different concepts of how to attack different regions. And we're huge into just PvP in general, from using small doing hot drops. We're bot five's known for the hot drops. I think the terrain is a challenge, no doubt, but
Reminds me of the in World War II, the in the Pacific, the each island that they were invading. It was really costly. So yeah, it's probably going to be similar with each system that Silent tries to take. It's probably going to be a costly battle. Each one's going to be a pitched fight, probably.
My
So it's
dad,
going to be really exciting to see, I think.
everything, almost
yeah,
everything.
offense is always more fun, but it is costly. Offense is absolutely, but it's more fun. It's to us, it's better than just sitting in Declan waiting for the war to decide to be a war. Initially, Crab Coalition, they were very offensive in areas that weren't heavily defended, but Declan was a different animal. And anyone who can't openly admit that, I don't know what to tell you. But Declan is just a different animal. It's been a different animal for the longest time, and we plan to turn Delp into the same thing.
I can't wait to see how
Indeed.
that whole thing works out. I really, really cannot wait to see how that works out. That should be a lot of fun,
Uh,
and I look forward to checking out the stories that come from this war. Now
I, I,
that, yeah,
I look forward to it too, and I thank you for coming on and talking with us, Frederick.
Oh, for sure, for
and
sure.
uh, and I do believe we need to talk Eve talk. So
Yes, we do.
let's get to that because we've got some things to discuss.
Do we
Okay.
ever? Alrighty.
You're tuned into New Eden FM. Your music, your voice, and your weekly update on all
And
things Eve.
welcome to Eve Talk, Alandria. Uh, I mean, you're the one with the big story this week, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest story in our Eve community here is that the community has decided to organize itself to form a CSM council, kind of like there is in EO, and try and work together to get the developers to listen to us and try to improve the game we all are addicted to playing. In the sound of us, I've actually placed the link to the Discord that the Echoes Player Association Discord. Um, it is a place where all this is being organized. People are posting nominations right now to vote for the representatives who will work together and work for all of us, the players, to speak to the developers and try and affect a positive change in the game to better our community. So it's actually over 1,000 people there now. So it's quite a few people. They are requesting that nobody put their game tags or anything like that there, because they just want everybody to just be community members. They don't want the different factionalization of the different organizations. This side or that side. They want everybody's ideas just to be considered for their ideas and not for which side the idea is coming from, so to speak.
So,
Which I think is a
do
very
you
positive thing.
do you guys
So
already have the devs over there? Like, do you actually have members of the, you know?
I don't believe they're to that step yet. This is early stage. This was decided in during a massive call of over 100. It looked like a CTA on the Eve Echoes Discord. Like 130 some odd people. I think it topped out at maybe more. I'm not even sure, but there were quite a few people over there, and it kind of got decided during that conversation that what we need was a CSM council, and so they did it. They created a Discord and started spreading it around, and obviously it's got over 1,000 people there, so the word is getting out, and so they're asking people to spread the word to try and get as many players over there as we can, so that everybody's voice can be heard. So if you're not over there and play this game, consider going over there and letting your voice be heard.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
in EO, the CSM was done by CCP. They were the ones who backed it and made it happen. In this case, this is kind of a grassroots effort that I can't see it here, but this is a grassroots effort that the players are doing, and hoping that once they organize, that Debs, I guess, will be impressed and listen. Um, I think that's why they're trying to get as many voices who want to be heard as possible and get as many people onto the Discord as possible, so that uh, there's power in the number of voices that speak.
Because it is relative to what is going on, and and what's been happening. Obviously, you guys know that I don't spend that much time going, sifting through Reddit. At least not on Eve Reddit, because it's usually just a huge amount of just insanity, right? Going on Reddit. I mean, you can't really. I mean, it's usually propaganda, but I've been noticing that Reddit has went from a place where it's just really bad or really good, depending on how you look at it, propaganda, to basically being like players that are, it doesn't matter what side they're from. They're just really fed up with what a lot of the devs
Yeah.
are doing. Okay, and Maldez, who is one of the prolific members of, if I'm not mistaken, Care Bears with Guns. He did make a statement on yesterday, and I thought that it really hit home. And to quote the man, he said, "Dear friends, 4 or 5 years ago, CCP wanted to revive their Chinese EVE online server, Serenity. In order to do so, they had to find a Chinese company to effectively operate it in compliance with Chinese law. They came to an agreement with NetEase in which NetEase would serve as a Chinese host for Serenity and would be given rights to some EVE Online IP and source code to build a mobile version of the game. At the same time, CCP has been working on development of EVE Anywhere, a browser client for EVE Online, which could potentially put EO in the mobile gaming market as it currently exists for PC." I'll stop the quote right there for a moment. For those of you guys that have tried that, I don't think that EVE Anywhere works on mobile browsers just yet, but I mean, I suppose the future is bright. They have been working on that. Over the past 3 years, we've watched NetEase turn a really great game into one that lives up to the nickname Toilet Eve. As the game has swirled around the sides of the bowl, we've witnessed firsthand NetEase's intentions for the game, an Eve-themed pay-to-win idle clicker built around player drama instead of lore. Here are some facts. A CSM won't help. In fact, the EO CSM really isn't that successful. The original CSM was created at the point of crisis for EVE Online, but it wasn't a point of crisis like what we're seeing in EVE Echoes. At the time, EVE Online was massive, and at the height of its popularity, in general, development decisions were already driven by players, as CCP, in many cases, was implementing in-game systems that enhanced trends players had already created. For example, SOV didn't come about because CCP thought risk in space was cool. They did it because players were informally claiming territory for their corporations and alliances. Corps and alliance limits weren't increased because CCP thought that these organizations needed to be bigger. It was because players had already made organizations bigger than the limits and found workarounds in order to make it work. The CSM came about for 2 reasons. 1, T20 scandal and other instances of CCP employees abusing their in-game privileges. 2, Monoclicate resulted from CCP trying to sideline EO in favor of other projects while trying to monetize EO in shitty ways in order to fund those projects. One of those was Dust 514. For those of you guys that remember that game, it was actually pretty good, but it died.
This is all. By the way, I played Dust 514 the entire 4 years.
It was pretty badass. It could have been better, but it was really good. Gotta admit. In contrast, NetEase has never listened to its player base. Its dev don't even play the game. Its development choices have been strictly driven by aggressive monetization strategies. In EO, the CSM was able to exist because the philosophy of player-driven changes was already a big part of the game. In EE, it isn't even on the developer's radar. In EO, the CSM was created at a time of great prosperity for EO. In EE, the game is basically dead. What this means is that CCP could afford players in EO to have a voice because the game was successful. That voice will simply never exist in EE because NetEase can't afford to have their choices be influenced by anything other than paying the bills. Even still, the CSM in EO isn't really that successful. CCP routinely introduces changes that the CSM adamantly advised them not to. In the past few years, for example, CCP almost destroyed EO with a scarcity era despite the CSM along with the entire player base screeching about how bad it was for the game. At the same time, we've tried a player council approach in EVE Echoes. 2 years ago, TrueBeast and some other alliances execs had NetEase set up a channel for alliance leaders to provide representative feedback to the devs in special channels on the official Discord. Not only were they essentially ignored, but the only time I engaged with an employee and provided the one time I did engage with an employee and provided criticism, that employee mysteriously disappeared from the Discord a few days later. Nothing ever changed. The channel fell into disuse and the game got worse. In short, EE is nothing but a video game equivalent of a set of licensed Star Wars birthday party decorations, a quick cash grab designed to ensnare buyers with the imagery of a beloved setting. You might as well start petitioning for Eve-themed Monopoly and Risk board games. At least those games can be fun and generally functional or function as expected. The only course of action for Toilet Eve is to smash that flush lever, drop the cord, log off, and uninstall it. Now, I'm not going to go with that last part to end the quote, but I mean, the man brought up some valid points. And this is actual historical data from what happened in Eve Online. And he's right. The Eve Online devs, even though they do dumb shit sometimes, for the most part, they listen to their community and they're willing to walk back on some of the dumb decisions they make. NetEase has never really done
Every
that.
bit of what he said is true.
Yeah.
Every single,
Yeah.
every bit of that historical reference is absolutely true. All of that happened.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know. That's why it's relevant to what's going on. I want the CSM to succeed. Believe me. I would love nothing more. I helped to build the house of Eve Echoes. You know, I left Eve Online to come to Echoes so that I could have a hand in building the universe, and I did, along with many other people who played the game since day one. And yet, the devs don't listen to us. We have played the game since day one. We have been faithful to them since day one. I haven't played the game in 8 weeks, but it's because I've been increasingly disappointed to the point that I thought, you know what? It may be better if I already have health issues that I have to take care of. Maybe I should just not log on for a little bit. Let it all just blow over. You know, it never blows over. That's the sad part. I keep hoping that when I come back, it will blow over. It will be gone. The war is not the reason why people don't want to log into the game. It's these decisions that the devs make. Okay, so the AI, as she pointed out, is pretty good. It has potential, but the truth is, can we actually say, based off of their activity, will it have potential later? Will they be able to actually implement good ideas to make it something better than, I guess, a quick cash grab? Will they reevaluate it? Will they think about, like, what can we do with it to make this better? Odds are probably not. They drop it into the game.
They'll never come back to it again.
That's the sad
Like
part.
they do everything.
It's so effed up, man. And that's
this is
only
not gonna
thing I
save
want
it.
them to do. That's it. It's not gonna save them. But I just wish that they would revisit some of the things that they have done. Look at it and say, this was a really good idea, but we didn't really quite implement it in a way that the players can truly engage in it. It's never happened.
Yeah.
It never has happened, and it disappoints me that that's never happened.
That's the biggest complaint
And-
of why
and it-
people seem to leave the game is because all of those things that they've implemented, players play those things and they never come back and fix any of the issues. You look at faction war games, you look at exploration, you look at anything they've ever brought into the game, and it needs work. Scanning, we've complained about it. They never go back and fix any of this stuff. They just implement new stuff that breaks the old stuff and makes balance in the game that much worse. And we're just like, hey, you got to come back and fix this. And they don't. It just gets worse. It'll be bad, and then they'll add more nanocores, and they'll add more implants. And it's like, especially for PvP, like, how do you balance that when nothing gets fixed that was broken?
That's what happens when you don't even play your own game. To be honest, that's the only excuse that I can even think about. Like, the only way something like that can happen is when you don't even play your own game. You can't tell me that you play your own game and you're like you don't even recognize the simple things that are going on that are creating these problems for you. And even if you don't play the game, when your players are telling you this is broken, this is really bad, and like and it's not even one one organization, which is why I'm glad on this server they don't, they're not applying people's alliance tags and stuff like that, man. This came from a Care Bearer with Guns member, but you know what? I agree with what that guy said 100%. Why? Because I know what he's talking about in terms of EVE Online. NetEase has never listened to their player base, but at least with CCP, they kind of listen to their player base. Everything that was stated, this is history. And I mean, it's like literally just watching someone walk off of the steep edge of a cliff. It's like you're blindfolded. You're being told to come back by your friends.
Ja, just
You're,
det.
but god damn, dude, it's killer. It's killing me.
And I enjoy his perspective on the game, and it's given me hope for a very long time to keep trying to stay with it and do more with it in ways. But it's been 3 years, and Nettie hasn't listened to anything. Not some things, nothing we have said. Absolutely nothing.
Well, I don't know. I think that they have listened to a few things. It's just that there's so much that they haven't listened to that it kind of gets drowned out. I
Yeah,
mean,
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, we did make fun of them for saying they were only going to do a rebalance on the game once a year, and so they started doing it twice a year. So that was an indication
yeah.
that they were in fact listening. Dreadnoughts came into the
Yeah, they're
game,
tuned in. Yeah.
and I'll be honest, the siege mode was kind of shit, to be honest, because I mean, yeah, they could receive heals from Logi, but really, it was just the siege mode was just kind of fucked up, and they did revisit the siege mode, and so it works better now, and it works essentially the way that it did in Eve Online, which basically tells all of us that they didn't need to do that at all. Um, you know, um, there with the Covops thing. I'll be honest. I feel like with most of the Covops equipment in the game, they could have. The reason why it didn't really work the way that it probably could have worked is because, well, let's face it, Covop ships work really well because EWAR is actually a thing that works well in EVE Online, but the reason why it works well is because there are certain things that are, in effect over there, such as each ship having a minimum and maximum targeting range. So sensor dampeners will actually sometimes force you to drop your target, which is beneficial. I mean, what's the point of putting a sensor dampener on someone who already has you locked if you know you can't exploit the targeting range? Doesn't make sense.
Correct.
ECM, what's the point of not having that in the game? I don't know. I don't even know at this point. It
Mind you, they still have sensor strength stats
Yeah.
on some of the ships, and
Sensor
ECM is not in the game.
ECM isn't in the game, but they have sensor strength for that stuff. They have man. It's just it's. I mean, the target painters kind of work the way that they're supposed to, at least.
Kind of.
Yeah, the
So the
target.
way we use DAPs, we use them on smaller ships against larger ships, not for sales particularly, but to slow down the locking of the larger ships in general. So
Yeah.
as other ships come in, it takes them that much longer to lock. But as far as the way they're supposed to be used, they're not. They're not applicable that way.
No, not at all. And like that, when they implemented that, I had been, dude. I don't know if you were around during the great Caracal race, like when the game first came out and like everyone was flying a cruiser because that was the shit, and everyone was flying
Right.
Caracals, and like if you tried to get into Jita, you had to wait for the queue because Jita hadn't been like expanded for more people to get in, and like you probably run into a gate and there would be like 1,000 Caracals just like sitting on that gate waiting to get in the Jita. I'm not sure if you remember that, um, but but man, I mean, like I was the one person that was flying a Blackbird because I wanted the Blackbird, with the actual ECM abilities and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And I would have been fine
Right.
to never move up to another ship, just so I could have, the Blackbird that is a real ECM ship. And then when it came out that it was, and then you strip the arbitrator of its ability to be a true disruption ship, which is what it's supposed to do, and you put it on one ship, and you take fucking turret deterrence and you put it on one ship. You take missile deterrence, you put it on another ship. When really, the reason why we use arbitrators is because we know we can put these modules on that ship and disrupt both. Like, I
Yes.
mean, you don't know what you're going to run into when you get out there on the battlefield. Why are you going to like the logic didn't even make sense. Like in EO, I'm gonna get into an arbitrator and put dampeners on it. So if I run into a missile ship, I use the appropriate weapon disruptors. If I run into a turret ship, I use the appropriate weapon disruptors.
You're going to take the arbitrator because the probability of you running into a ship over a missile ship is higher.
Probably, exactly. It's just nothing was
That's why
well
the
thought
Blackbird
out.
doesn't get used.
Yeah,
Because it's the options of having one thing versus being able to disrupt three things.
yeah, and that's it. It has been painful. And when they did that, I was like, you know what? This makes me upset. It makes me mad. But okay, it's fine. And I'll be honest, like the positive people right now, Sheev is the guy who tries to keep me positive, tries to who helps to reel me back in when I just like tear into these people because it used to be Benzi. Like really, I would go and I would just check out Benzi, and Benzi was like all positive and stuff. I'm like, dude, how on earth do you smile through this shit? Really, really. But I would watch his videos and I'd be like, you know what? Maybe he's right. Because I mean, I tuned into the man's video before I even got into the beta. And I'm like, you know what? I like Benzi. I respect Benzi. If Benzi thinks that, maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll get better. But eventually, when Benzi just went, what? This is just so horrible. And I'm like,
Yeah, to use I mean, when you take
damn,
for a lack of terms, when you take the piss out of Benzi on this, like Benzi,
man.
he's like a super positive guy. When he's angry like this, you've done your worst.
Yeah, it's a statement. That's just something.
I want them to get around to actually saving this game because I was one of those people that was there on day zero helping to build it. I just don't foresee it. And I mean, I think that the coolest thing that could happen right now at this point as far as Eve is concerned is that maybe they open like a secondary server like for everyone who is playing Eve for the 20th anniversary. I just want them to open a new Eve Online server, not like take away the old one, right? Because we all like the old Eve Online server, and many of us have like several million tens of millions of of skill points invested into our clones on the main server. But I would love it if they would just like say we're going to open a new server for anyone who basically wants to rebuild the game from ground zero. And I think that it would appeal to a lot of people who would love to play Eve from day one, and just give them an opportunity to build it. And you can still go to the old server and have your standard carrier or your standard character and stuff, but no transfers to that new server. Everyone starts, on ground zero. Everyone starts on equal footing. No one has any advantages. Everyone is just starting off skilling from the very bottom. And I think it would make a lot of people happy because for some of us veterans of Eve Online, that's why we went to Eve Echo, so that we could just have a chance to rebuild the universe. Because when I got into Eve Online, it was like 10 years after the game had come out. And I'm okay with it the way that it is. You can still break into it. They made it a lot easier for players to break into it. But I mean, it would be really
I would
cool.
so much agree.
It would be really cool to have a
Yeah.
server, just one extra server on the side where they can say, guys, for people who want to rebuild the universe from ground zero, we're opening a new server. You can go over there. You can play you can play on that clone. And, if you already had 3 clones on your main account on this server, you'll have like fresh spots. Kind of like what would happen if you played like World of Warcraft and you wanted to go to a new server. If you didn't want to transfer your character, you just go over there and create a new character on a new server, and you get to basically play the game from ground zero. I think it would be great for people,
Yeah.
and I
I
think
would
it.
say, yeah.
I think it needs to happen. You know what I mean? Because this is just this is depressing. This is depressing,
Yeah.
and what's depressing is like
I
not
would play
knowing
it.
what's gonna. Yeah, I would go over there, and I mean I do have an account over with Eve anyway, but it would be great to go and to play it again and to basically be able to build a universe from scratch with some people, or hell, even join with some of the community members from Eve Echoes that are already over there, because it just seems like every once in a while, I want to say like every month, another group of people migrate over to Eve Online from Eve Echoes. Just
Yeah.
Well, the thing that hurts Eve Echoes the most, even for those of us who have been here and hanging on, is at year 3, we've been hoping for changes that aren't happening. And what's going to be really depressing is the next thing they do just doubles down on this even more. That's what kind of is taking me out, because it's just like, okay, they did this. You told me to hold on last time. You told me to hang on last time. When they released Barrier and Capital, told me to hang on because they're going to fix it. And they have. And it's been another year. And they're doing this now. And they still haven't fixed any of the other issues. And when the anniversary comes, and then I'm going to, again, wait till April 2024. It's like, come on.
I'll be honest with you. I think that um, when I saw what they did with capital ships, how they were implemented to the game, when they first came out, and everyone was like, "Great, so are we going to get high angular weapons for our dreadnoughts?" Because at the time, there was nothing for dreadnoughts to shoot, right? Like the only thing you could shoot with those things were other capitals or are structures. That was it. There were no dormants. There was no content for caps outside of that, and they were like, well, we're not gonna put them
Yeah.
into the game, which was kind of, it was shitty, but it was fine, right? And then they implement them into the game, but by the time they implemented them into the game, there were actual uses for dreadnoughts outside of just shooting other capitals and shooting dormants, or we had dormants. We weren't just going to shoot capitals and shoot structures. We could actually do something else. So now they give us high angular weapons, which I forgot what name did they give them here again? Because I forget.
Uh,
Uh,
barreled
Barreled
weapons.
weapons. Thank you. That
Barreled.
they couldn't
Yeah.
even just leave it as high angular weapons. They had to call it something else. But
I don't
anyway,
know if that's a licensing thing or what, but they always try to recreate the wheel when they implement
maybe
stuff, which is fine.
it
But
is
they
fine.
also promised ECM since forever ago. That never happened. So it's just like stuff like that. Like we can sit here and things that make us disgruntled, but when you do that, you just get more disgruntled.
Good point.
It doesn't help. So I try to say, you know what, and I've been doing this for, okay, well, I'm just going to find the good stuff, hunt the good stuff. The
The
good
com-
stuff is running thin, and their decisions are affecting the things that we find to stay for.
the only good stuff left in this game is the community members. The community members are the reason why, like, I will even show up. Yes, last Sunday, my my community was doing a Citadel defense. I went over to their Discord and I joined them for it, and I literally waited to log on to see if someone was gonna come, so that and I actually had a reason to log into the game, right? So I sat there while they waited for the Citadel to restore itself and everything. And once the Citadel was restored, and I realized that they didn't need me, I was like, well, I'm not needed here, because the community is the only thing that's worth being here in this game for. Just the community, the people. These are some of the greatest people that I've ever played a game anywhere with. And that's it. That's the whole thing. But like when your people start leaving and they're like going off in little small groups and saying, well, we're going to we're going to go to EO and play together and stuff. I mean, those are the things you try to prevent from happening. And you're literally reaching out to the devs, not so because you just want to impose your will on them. You're just telling them, dude, we just want you to get in here and do something to keep our community members from leaving and going and doing something else somewhere else. Of EDM at this point,
I think that's going to just about bring us to a close, but I did want to bring up one last thing here in the Eve community. Recently, a group in our community mourns the loss of a pilot who just quit logging in, and they
oh,
found out that he had passed away. So
it sucks.
to those who heard about Demolition Man, our thoughts are with you. But they are spreading a message of be kind to each other. You never know what somebody's going through, and if you don't hear from somebody you all the time see, you check on them, reach out to people. Remember, we're all playing this game to sometimes be our escape from the doldrums of life or the stresses of life and everything. So just remember to be kind to each other, and it doesn't mean we can't shoot each other, but there's just no need to be mean about it. You know what I mean? And and things like that. And just remember the people you fly with, and if you think somebody is going through something or something like that, to reach out to them, and we're all part of this community together, and so we all need help, little help sometimes. So
I agree.
Yeah, there were a memorial fleet yesterday. Regards to this,
yeah,
that some of us
yeah,
participated. I think we were a couple of guys actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just close. Well, thank everybody for listening, and uh, I am of course contractually obligated as a hidden CEO of Boop to tell you to boop in local and meow in local, I guess now. I'm not entirely sure. I've still been looking for the memo on
You have no
that.
idea
Nobody's really been
if they're
clear and told
meowing
me.
at this point. I don't know.
I don't know. I do hear rumors that the cat puns are being thrown into local by a certain group, but I find that very interesting. But hey, to each their own.
Okay. All right. All right.
And as us space huggers say, hug in space then.